Are you ready for combat night?
What's up, guys? Thanks for joining us for another edition of the Combat Night Crew Chat. Still spitballing that name to see if that's exactly what's going to stick. But today, we have a guest that is a BJJ practitioner, an artist, a numbers guy, and a storyteller. He runs things behind the scenes for us at Combat Night. He designs apparel for athletes and adventurers as Retro Grappler. He's the chairman of a nonprofit for up-and-coming fighters with the Samman Foundation, and somehow still finds time to write kids' books about jiu-jitsu and fitness. And he's building a legacy in every lane, and today we are unpacking how. So with great enthusiasm and joy, I'd like to introduce you to Christopher Retro Grappler Smart.
Thank you. That enthusiasm and joy, man. I love it. I love it.
And I will also add, in a pinch, when the bat signal goes up, he'll help you carry a couch.
You got it, man. Anytime you guys need a couch, call someone else first, but I'll be there if you really need me.
I called a couple people first, but you were the one that showed up, and my couch probably weighs 500 pounds, and you did a heck of a good job. I appreciate it.
That thing was really heavy. I don't know what you call the smallest guy you know. Gotta keep the change in the couch at least.
I did try to call Val Woodburn, but he was across town.
Oh, dang it.
So
that would have been a much easier move for you, because I think at one point you were pulling me into the house with the
right. All right, man. So let's get into it. You wear a lot of hats.
I do. Yep.
So from artist to entrepreneur to nonprofit chairman, what's the thread that ties it all together for you?
Man, really, it's creating art is really what it comes down to. I've always loved to create things. I've always loved to tell stories through illustrations or through a narrative, and that really is just like the thread that keeps my story going. I'm born and raised in North Carolina, on a mountain, which is kind of cool looking back. But what happened in my life really is really just a journey through art and expression.
So, family man, tell us about your family.
Yeah, man. I've been married for 25 years.
Congrats.
She's so awesome, dude. She puts up with so much of my crap. Angela's fantastic. We've just been partners ever since we met in a call center in Augusta, Georgia. Okay, so we were doing like 00 info. If you guys remember, like 411, we were basically the 411 people. And when we met, I was a freak, like hair, like leopard spot hair, piercings in the eyebrow, lip, nose, everything, tongue, and doing tattoos for a living. And we
tattoo artist.
Yeah, I did tattoos for a while.
I've already learned something new.
That was a weird time too, man. Because when we had met, Angela was she was a military brat from Texas, and she moved to Augusta, Georgia with her family. And I'm just like, woo, crazy wild guy who has no direction, no idea what he's doing. I'm an artist. I want to create, but here I have to have a 9-to-5 job. So I'm working with this beautiful gal that I didn't want anything to do with, and she chased me down for God knows how long, and then finally we just
I know how that is.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool because she mellowed me out, and I like chilled her up a little bit. So we like found this really cool levity in just being with each other. Like even to this day, we'll estimate something. She'll say, "Oh, it's 100," and I'll be like, "Nah, it's 50." And every time, I kid you not, it's right smack dab in the middle. We are polar opposites, but perfect for each other. Which is how we came to my 21-year-old son, soon to be 22 next week, Darian, and my 18-year-old daughter, Delaney, who are just freaking awesome kids, by the way. There's something cool about having your kids be a part of like your history. And I know that you do that with your kids as far as bringing them into the combat crew and showing them how things are run and teaching them like the basics of production. With my kids, it was about a lifestyle. It was something just a little different, right? So taught them about grunge music. I never thought my kids would be into grunge music, right? They were really big into hip hop and R&B. And then one day my daughter's singing Alice in Chains, and I'm like, I did something right. Excellent. So now I'm starting to see that more and more as they turn into humans, like functioning adults, right? That they're little me's. and it's kind of cool. Kind of dig it.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, like you said, having your kids be a part of the stuff that you do and be interested in some of the things you're interested in is a cherry on top that you can never expect to be the case.
Yeah,
So,
it makes
if it happens, blessings.
yeah, it makes work so much more enjoyable, because now you're not just doing a job. Really you're doing something for your family, like a trajectory of some sort of lineage, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
So have you always been this multifaceted, or did each lane open up organically over time?
Oh, well, okay. So I've always been an artist. I've always loved just drawing, illustrating, whatever it is. And I think that the artwork is what's carried me to where I am today. So go back to when I was in North Carolina, right in the mountains. They opened up this pool. It was a community pool. It was the first community pool in our neighborhood. Super excited about it. And what they said was, if you drew a picture of everyone in the community having fun in the pool, you and your friends could win like summer passes. And that was it, man. That was what I wanted. I wanted those summer passes. I wanted to be the cool kid that lived on a mountain but had access to the pool all summer, right? I had dreams of like what is it? Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I was like, man, I'm gonna be like the guy, right? So here I am in like third grade, coloring this picture, and my teacher walks by, and she goes, well, you know, Christopher, our pool is not going to be purple. I was like, looking at my crayon, I'm like, what are you talking about, you daffy chick? Like, and I look at my crayon and it's purple. I've colored this entire pool purple. So that was the first time I realized I was colorblind. And from that moment on, it's been an absolute struggle to balance me being a colorblind artist with my artwork.
Well, this is something that it explains your shirt here today, but I did.
I love this shirt. Someone said I look like Dale from Chippendale's Rescue Rangers. I love it.
It's full on like 90s Max Headroom look. But I didn't know that about you either until actually whenever I texted you earlier today and you said that, I was like, what?
Yeah, bro. It's crazy. Like, the amount of red that I see is very different than the amount of red that you or any of the viewers will see, right? So red and green deficiency is my color blindness. So when I see red, I still see red. I know it's red.
When I see red, bro,
it just lose it. So yeah, when people say they see red, I see dark brown. And I lose it. So I don't see red or greens in the same way as most people do, which is a problem certainly when I'm doing design. So I always ask for help, or I use math numbers to figure it out, because there's usually a red, green, blue, or CYMK value that's associated to a color, so I could read that and understand, oh yeah, that's actually more of a yellow than it is a green, or that's more of a burnt blue than a purple. So it's funny, right? Like, the whole idea of being an artist and trying to bring your art to people was super difficult for me, because what I saw was not what everyone else had seen. So flash forward to, like, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago ish. My wife and I are doing the Washington boat show.
Turn that just a little bit.
Turn this bad boy just a little bit. It keeps slipping.
Just twist it. There we go.
How's that?
Yeah,
that better?
Yeah, that's better.
All right, cool. Thank you. So we're at the Washington Boat Show in Dulles, Virginia, outside of DC, and everyone is complaining about this bright red carpet. And I'm like, bro, what are you talking about, bright red? And they're like, oh, it's the brightest red you'll ever see. It's horrible. It's horrible. And it's all throughout the convention hall. And I don't get it. So my wife goes and buys me some of these red color corrective lenses and put them on my face. And I'm like, holy cow, this is what you normal people see? And of course, it was like that was the color. So I'm in awe of all the different colors of reds. And truth be told, it's not the same red as what you'll see, but it is highlighted. So it calls it out to my eye a little bit more. And I turn around and I look at my artwork and I go, holy shit, is this what people are seeing? And it was like mind melting, because at the time I was painting underwater scenes. So like sea turtles and mahi, boats, fish, coral reefs. That's my jam. I absolutely love painting undersea art. So I'm looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, man, if this is what people see when I paint something, what can I do to make them just lose their minds? And that was tell them, bro, hey, I'm colorblind. I'm like, and you see these colors? Nope. I can read a paint a tube, but I can't see the colors. And the interesting thing about that, Ramsey, is when you're scuba diving underwater, the very first color to leave the spectrum is red. Okay. So by the time you get to about 60 feet underwater, what you see with natural vision is the same thing as what I see with my colorblind vision. So the further and further you go, the closer and closer our vision comes together. So the narrative on creating that art is I'm creating what I see. Just so happens it's the same thing as what you're going to see underwater. Maybe I'll put a little more orange in there, maybe a little more pink. Maybe my wife will nudge me and say, that's a little too gray. Put a little bit of red in that, of course. But man, that's kind of a cool little thing that I do.
No, that's crazy. So it's primarily red that is affected in your vision. Because I know Mitchell's colorblind to some degree. I don't think it's the same color spectrum.
I want to say that his colorblindness is similar to mine because we looked at stuff and we both go, yep. But I feel like his is much worse. I don't know if it's that or if he just can't put an outfit together. I don't know.
He's always asking.
I say that as I wear, which by the way, Mitchell did purchase this for me. He found it at like a retro market in South Florida. And he was like, I want to buy this. And he gave it to me. And I was like, bro, I'm wearing this everywhere I go. I love it. But yeah, so reds for me tend to be a little more brown. Yellows and greens seem to mix. And purple and blue. I have a hard time with purple and blue. My first pickup truck that I ever bought with my wife, again, thanks, Ange. It was a beautiful blue Ford Ranger, deep blue, royal blue, manly color. And I buy this thing and we're walking out of the car lot. And she's like, I can't believe you just bought a purple truck. Bruh. I was like, a purple? There's no way it's purple. She's like, yep. I caught so much shit from all my boys back in the day. They were like, man, what, you got something to tell us, Retro? Or they call me Retro, but they called me Lucky back then. You got something to tell me, Lucky? No, nothing. I just can't see that color. So yeah.
So with all the things you're involved in, how do you decide where to focus your energy, on a daily and weekly basis?
Oh man, that's I don't. It's panic. It's constant panic and chaos. Constant chaos. So you think about like the workflow that I have, right? So I've got that full-time job you talked about. I've got the family at home. We've got Retro Grappler. We've got Wave Hugger. We've got Whiskey Hotel. We've got a new company, Mulligan Golf Co. coming up soon. Working with the foundation, Josh Samman, doing combat night, and then anything else that falls in between, whether it's the CrossFit show that I was just at selling the book, The ABCs of CrossFit, or anything else. It all just comes down to just controlled chaos. So carving out time for me is difficult, but when it's a priority, it gets done, right? And you alluded to it before that I was the only person that said that I was going to come and help you with your couch. Damn it, I said I was going to do it. I'm going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's also a great deal of personal commitment that your word is gold and you're going to go out and you're going to do exactly what you tell people you're going to do. If that means I got to stay up a couple more hours past my bedtime, which is definitely not 7 o'clock. Old guy. No, it's not 7 o'clock. It's 7:30. But yeah, I'll stay up as late as it needs to get the job done. I mean, same thing with combat night, man. You know how it is. We leave early in the morning. We run the show. The show's done. Stay for as long as you can, breaking the cage down, whatever it is, and you get home at 2 o'clock in the morning. I love my people. I'm going to do it for my people. So that creates more chaos that needs to be controlled. So yeah, it's difficult.
Being a man of your word is the name of the game for sure.
Yeah.
Anything that you verbally commit to, your body has to follow, or you should have kept your mouth shut in the first place.
Absolutely. Lou Vasquez actually brought that up to me one time, and he would always say it as, I wouldn't say it was a throwaway term, but it was a movie quote, word is bond, right? Or even a music quote, right? I hear a lot in music as well, but he always says, word is bond, word is bond, word is bond. And to a point to where you kind of got numb to it. But what he was teaching me, what he was telling me was that you got to be a man of your word. You're not a man of your word. Are you a man at all?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I got that from.
So I know you know Lou from the martial arts world. Let's talk about that a little bit. So, and how did that influence your artistry? Like, how long have you been doing martial arts, and how did that influence you? Founding Retro Grappler. Go.
Okay. Yeah. So Man, let's go back to like 2017 when I first started. I was doing Taekwondo at the time because my daughter was doing Taekwondo, and I wanted to be kind of that role model, right? And actually, she started it, and then I got into it, and I really enjoyed it. And one day, I just decided that maybe grappling is more up my alley. Maybe I want to do jujitsu. Striking is fun, but maybe I just want to control someone on the ground. So there was a jujitsu gal training out of the jungle by the name of Jasmine Johnson, and her family were good friends with my family because she went to school with my son. So she was like, "Hey, come on out to a tournament and check it out and come support." So I did a T-shirt for Jasmine the Beast Johnson. Had these glowing eyes, fight shirt with all our sponsors on the back. That was my first foray into any sort of illustration crossing over into martial arts. So then I started to get into jujitsu. Right. Started working at a gym close to home, enjoyed that for a few years. But before, I want to say it was like 6 months into my jiu-jitsu journey. The coach out there says, "I've always wanted to do a design, a shirt. I want to do a series of werewolves ripping people's arms off." And I'm like, man, that sounds pretty fucking cool. So I took it upon myself to do this illustration and made posters for him, and of just a bitchin' looking werewolf just ripping a guy's arm off. And it says Tales from the Mat. It looks like the old school Tales from the Crypt, Tales from the Mat. And I did a whole series on it. And I was like, and somebody at the gym at the time, I want to say it was either Hans or Nick, they said, "You should put that on a rash guard." I don't know shit about that.
Ding.
The light bulb went off, and then it was like wildfire, man. We sold some rash guards at the gym there. I think I ended up selling like 10 rash guards in like my first night. I was like, "Hey, it's a success. I'm only in the hole by like $5,000, but that's okay because I'm doing something that I love." So over the next couple of years, we made some other designs. We made some edits to some designs, and then I started to figure out like what the market really wanted. At least I think I did, because I love color. I love bold lines, and I love just putting crazy shit out there that resonates with me. And for me, it's always been cartoons and cereal and comic books, retro video games. And I said, nobody else is doing that out here today. Like you see some retro stuff, but you don't see like obscure retro. Like right now I've got a design that I'm sitting on, and I'm gonna release it, y'all. It's the Spaceballs, the rash guard. Bro, we have not seen a Spaceballs rash guard yet. At least I haven't. So I'm going to release it and see what happens. One of my first designs was the Thundercats. Do you remember the Thundercats? Okay, not a lot of people remember the Thundercats. Whoa, bro, so awesome. And it's Mum Ra putting Lion-O in a Mata Liao. So it was like a perfect blend of retro and jiu-jitsu. Then we did Silverhawks. Do you remember Silverhawks? A lot of people don't remember Silverhawks. That's why you're my guy. Silverhawks, man, we did leg locks instead. So we got like the Copper Kid putting the guy in a heel hook, and it was like super cool, but only a few people got it. So I had to step back for a minute and say, does this make sense for a rash guard company, or does it make sense just for me to like feed my own artistic ego and just do some cool shit that I think looks cool? And that was really the pivot when people were saying, I don't remember Fraggle Rock. You did a Fraggle leg lock rash guard, but I don't know what that is. What is Fraggle Rock? I was like, dang, man, the people who are buying rash guards these days are not me. They're not the 40-plus-year-old dudes that, love seeing like old school comic book stuff, or cartoon stuff. So I've had to switch it up a little bit and do some different designs and kind of bring it forward. But now I'm finding the joy of creating a rash guard is not there. It's more labor than it is love, and I'm bringing that back, bro. I'm redesigning some of the old stuff that we've done. I'm going to bring back the Tales from the Mat, where we do the horror themed jiu-jitsu, where it's gruesome and gross and really, really cool. So we're going to get back to our roots.
That's interesting. Because there's in pop culture, there's so many different things, and some stuff comes and goes. And I remember, man, what's one of the first one of yours that like popped on the scene for me in terms of like, oh, somebody that I know like wants this, and I want to say it was Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
you did a Beetlejuice rash guard, and that was before my daughter Raina was even training, but she was a huge fan of Beetlejuice, and she even called herself Beetle at one point. And we were at a show at Guilt, and you had a table set up, and she saw it, and she was like, "I got a Beetlejuice shirt back there." And I went back there and I looked, and I was like, "Oh, this is a rash guard." And I was like, "You want a rash guard?" And she was like, "I want it."
That's awesome.
And so it was really cool to see one, that apparel which she wears now. Maybe it still fits. She wears it now, and then there's a couple other one. There's the American Psycho.
Yeah.
And she has a bunch of favorites, but it's cool to see that you've been able to like initially make things that you liked. If you see, that's kind of what we do. Anything that we do, it's like you got to like what it is that you see, and then as you're trying to make a buck, you got to find the right lane to fall in and hit the right waves, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's the hard part is striking that balance, because what I like, not a lot of people will like. I've got dozens of designs that my wife has said nobody's going to buy that. Like, well, what do you mean? People don't like Miss Frizzle? And she's like, man, no one's going to buy that shit. It's just garbage. So I put it on the side, and then maybe I'll break it out later, or maybe I'll redraw it or something like that.
Well, you never know what's going to like come around, or what new tone is going to be struck with folks. So
exactly. Or it's all assets to me, right? So when I create something, I put it in the archive, and then I'll call it back if I ever need it. So, like for example, I'm doing a Halloween themed rash guard with Ghostface and Jason. So it'll be really cool. But it all started because I found an image of a knife, like the knife that the Ghostface killer kills with, in my archives. And I was like, oh, I remember doing that. That was really cool. Wouldn't it be cool if? And then the idea started flowing. So that's where that's how I'm able to.
Well, I think you've done a fantastic job of like finding different things that resonate with people. I love this shirt right here that you have on. Man.
My ooh-wee shirt. This shirt is going to get me into so much trouble.
Right. Well, one, it's like, who knew that little guy was going to be such a phenomenon?
Mm-hmm.
I guess they did, because they put it on literally everything.
Yeah.
And then whenever I saw this shirt, I was like, because we always, as much as we road trip and stuff, we always talk about if you make it by Buc-ee's, or if you're able to swing by there. If you haven't been to a Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
Well,
so interesting story. Raina just said we should make a Buc-ee's rash guard. I have a Buc-ee's rash guard on deck. I've made it and sent it to Buc-ee's and said, you guys, you need to buy these rash guards. I need to be your wholesaler for these. You need to buy an order or whatever, put them in every Buc-ee's, because if you're by the beach, you're going to need a rash guard, right? Or if you're doing jiu-jitsu, come on, you're going to need a Buc-ee's rash guard. Send it out to them. Crickets. So I think what I might do is make another one, and then maybe do a tank top, and maybe send them some more stuff and say, guys, are you sure you don't want in on this, hundreds and hundreds of dollars? Because that's really what it comes down to. It's not a lot of money, but man, I'd love to see my artwork on people.
Well, they have so much stuff and in their stores, high priced stuff, so it would fit right in regards to.
I was coming back from where it must have been Tallahassee, one of our more recent shows. Maybe it wasn't Tallahassee, but I was with I was South Florida, so I was with Taylor and Kevin, and we stopped at Buc-ee's. On the way back, middle of the freaking night, there was a bride and a groom getting their photos taken inside the Buc-ee's, y'all. I'm serious, and I've never felt like a combination of joy and pity in the same time. But man, y'all are really doing this.
You got a bride and a brisket.
Man, it was like 2:00 in the morning, bro. It was like,
which is arguably the best time to go there. It's probably pretty empty.
Ain't nobody there.
Yeah. It's like Disney World if you go there like on the way home on a Sunday from wherever. It's
the best time to stop.
Right.
Yeah. So the interesting thing about the Buc-ee's shirt is, if you guys haven't seen, in Orlando, a local record store, I think it was recently sued by Buc-ee's because they took Bucky Beaver and put a dead Kennedy's hat on him and put like gauged earrings and a septum ring and a bunch of tattoos. And they basically said, you can't, not on my watch. You can't do that. So at the time that they were sued, I had these t-shirts in production, and I was like, oh shit. these t-shirts are going to hit. I'm going to try to sell them, and then I'm going to go to jail. They all want to go to jail. They'd give me a nasty letter, and I had to stop selling them. So I took them off the website for a while. And then I said, man, I really need some tank tops. Made some tank tops. And then that is the birth of Ooh Wee Otter. That's not Bucky Beaver.
Right.
That's his cousin, Ooh Wee Otter.
All right.
So Ooh Wee Otter is here to stay. You can find him only at Combat Night, by the way. I'm gonna give these shirts over to Mitchell and his merch crew and say, guys, just sell these things, because I feel like it's a blessing and a curse. Did you also know that someone stole this design from me? Bro, I posted it on Reddit like the day that I made the shirt. I took a photo, put it on Reddit's our Muay Thai subreddit, and within hours, like I went to bed that night, within hours, someone from like Pakistan had taken my design, put them on t-shirts, and started selling them on that thread, pretending to be the illustrator. I didn't have to do anything. Reddit took care of itself. So like the moderator got on, he's like, no, that's bullshit. You're not the owner. And he started pulling all of his stuff down. And I messaged the guy. I was like, bro, I'm an artist, man. You're taking money out of my pocket. How could you do that? And his response was, I'm so sorry, bro. I told him where he could stick his sorries and gave him a very colorful email that he did not respond to. But now if you Google Uwe Bucky's or Bucky's Muay Thai, you'll see all of his sites that have propagated with my artwork. And man, it burns me. It burns me that someone stole something from me that I stole from someone else.
How dare they?
Those fools.
Okay, so you have the Retro Grappler apparel and you have the Wave Hugger.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
The difference is nothing.
Okay.
Right? Because if we go back to that boat show in DC that I was talking about earlier, one of the things that my wife and I noticed was that people weren't really walking around with, a $1,000 painting. They were all walking around with something that was much smaller, whether it was a t-shirt, a print, a small print, or glasses or something like that. So it clicked that I needed to put my artwork on something that everyone can walk away with, and something that's, utilitarian, right? Something that people can use. So that's where we came up with the idea of saying, we're having some good success with Retro Grappler. Let's switch over and do performance shirts, just like the Guy Harvey stuff, Salt Life, all that stuff. And let's put my artwork on the back of it and make it seem like Wave Hugger is this huge brand that's bringing in like these $1 million ideas from these fantastic artists. It's just me. And then, sell them. And it's going pretty good, I think. So what you'll find on the backs of my performance shirts are typically paintings that I've done. And I just digitize them, put them through some color correction software, put it on the back, and maybe say something witty on the back of the shirts. Like one is an eel hunting down a lobster, and behind the eel is a shark, and behind the shark is a boat, and and then all these things are like trying to find the lobster to eat. And then there's a beautiful angelfish like kind of swimming in front of the lobster, and it's basically telling the predators where the lobster is. So I named that one Tattletales. So on the back it says Tattletales, and it's got like a really cool painting.
That's super cool. And you painted surfboards and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's something that I've recently gotten into. So Ari Melendez was a pro surfer there for a while. I didn't
know that.
You didn't know that, bro? Bro, yeah, she was big in the scene before she started fighting. Big in the scene. But she turned me on to a couple of folks out in New Smyrna. Gnarly Charlie is one of them. Like one of the coolest dudes you'll ever meet. He's pretty high strung. He's off the wall. Love him to death, but good-hearted person. But just mile a minute. Got an idea. Let's do all these cool things. Introduced me to him, and that kind of gave me the idea that, man, can't we just put rash guards, jiu-jitsu rash guards on people and call them surf rash guards? And the answer is yeah, we can. So then that's how we started putting Retro Grappler-esque art on Wave Hugger. Same material, same cut, same grappler gripper at the bottom of the shirts. It's just a different twist of the artwork.
So you mentioned like having this like kind of fascination with like underwater and stuff like that. Where's that come from?
That's that all came from, well, you grew up in the mountains of North Carolina, right?
Naturally.
You always want to go to where you're not from, right? But where it really hit me was with my wife's dad, Mr. Dean. Call him Bill for short. Call him Mr. Dean if I want to drink his beer. So Bill was affiliated with some of the original Disney divers here in Central Florida. Now, if you don't know who the Disney divers are, they're basically the people who certify anyone who wants to learn how to scuba dive for Disney Co. here in Florida. So it was a guy named Wayne, a guy named John Dean, who was my wife's uncle, and then a couple other guys who ran the Disney divers. And they said, hey, we could use some help pulling tanks and pulling people out of the water when they're too tired over at Lake Denton, which is in, I think it's up by Gainesville. Do you want to come? And I'm like, yeah, I'd love to come help out. So that's where I got the bug to learn how to scuba dive. So from then on, I was either in the lake with them certifying folks or in the Thunder in Paradise pool at Disney MGM. Little bit of trivia. Thunder in Paradise. You guys remember that show with Hulk Hogan from the 90s? All right, Thunder in Paradise. All the underwater scenes were filmed in this like 30-foot swimming pool. That's where I got certified. And if you looked at my certification card, it doesn't say Bill's 4-star Patty Nowie Service Center. It says Disney MGM Studios.
Oh, that's cool.
Pretty fucking cool.
Are you still certified?
I'm still certified. I still dive. Yeah, I still love it. I've been diving for well over 20 years, which is how I got the nickname Lucky, which was the predecessor to Retro, obviously. When I met Angela's dad, he didn't like me very much. I told you I had piercings, tattoos, crazy funky hair, and I'm still here. I am this little asshole still in his daughter. Didn't like me very much. So they called me Lucky after the little guy on the cereal box.
Oh, the little leprechaun.
Yeah, because I had a full red beard.
Oh
yeah, little fella. Yeah, they called me Lucky the Leprechaun. And there for a while, he wouldn't even call me my real name. He would call me Freak Show. Right? And at the time, I thought that was kind of endearing. I'm like, oh, Freak Show. That's kind of cool. I am a little bit of a freak. Hey. But no, he was like straight up dissing me. You're a freak show. Oh, I get it.
And then you're like, I'm taking jujitsu.
Yeah, I'm taking jujitsu. I'm taking you down, Mr. Dude. No, he's a super cool dude. But it really took me like, gosh, I want to say 15 to 16 years scuba diving with him, hanging out with him, drinking his beer, helping him with his yard or whatever. I don't do that today. But all that stuff to finally get to a point to where I can honestly call that man one of my best friends.
Oh, that's cool.
He doesn't dive anymore though. So he's since stopped diving. I think he's in his he's almost in his 70s. And so he doesn't scuba dive anymore. So my diving activity has been lessened. But if I can get Jeremy Williams to get on a damn dive boat with me, then maybe Jeremy, the inevitable Williams, and I will go spear some fish.
So yeah, I certainly would not be joining you on that type of trip. I swim, and I swim well, but I do not go in the ocean.
Why?
For all of the obvious reasons.
What? Drowning?
Sharks? Certainly not drowning.
Critters?
Critters.
You're afraid of critters?
Yeah, I can't.
Come on, man.
I can't do it.
You can stand in the ocean?
I'd rather not.
Yeah.
I'll look at it. I'll stand on the beach, but
man.
I had a friend when I was growing up down in Central Florida, when I was like maybe 8 or 9 years old, at a beach that we used to go to all the time. We'd ride our bike up to the beach. No parental, this was the 80s.
Yeah.
No parental supervision. We just go out there and swim. And then one day a kid got like his lower leg, like not bitten off, but like his calf bitten off by a shark. And at the beach that we swim at every day. And I was like, to my parents, I was like, yeah, Gary got bit by a shark. And they were like, oh, wow. Yeah. I was like, there's sharks out there? And they were like, yeah.
It's where they live.
Like, and you let us go out there? They were like, well, you've been out there hundreds of times and nothing's ever happened. And I was like, oh, no.
That was it. That was it for you.
That was it. I want to say the following week, they had determined it was like a tiger shark or whatever. And I went up to the beach with my friends. And this is a beach we went to pick up shells when we had gone down to Fort Pierce. The following week, there was this big, probably tiger shark head about this big that someone had caught a tiger shark out there, and who's to say it was the same one or whatever, but
yeah,
skewered its head and put it on the beach as if to say like, oh, like we got him or whatever. And I was like, the head of it was like this, and I was like, so not only are there sharks out here, there's sharks out here with heads this big. It's like, oh no.
Man,
So I've been out of the ocean game since then.
Listen, if you can find the testicular fortitude to put on some scuba diving equipment, I think you get it. You dig it.
I told Ashley that it was on like my bucket list to do like something along those lines. I might have even said like cage diving, like intentionally, like with sharks. And she was like, what? And I was like, I know that's a stretch considering I don't even want to get into the ocean at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll have to, like you said, work up the testicular fortitude.
I think you'd enjoy it, man. When you get underwater, you hear nothing, right? You hear pops and clicks on the reef, and that's typically the shrimp or the crabs or the creatures doing their creature thing, and it sounds electric almost. It's super cool. Then you take into account the weightlessness, right? Because now if you do it right, you're neutrally buoyant, so you're just kind of floating along. You take a deep breath, you come up a little bit, you exhale, you descend a little bit, so you're in complete control of your X and Y, and it's zen. And then you see the critters, man. You see like a shark swimming by. You see like a 6-foot bull shark that swims in front of you and is like unaffected, or a 5-foot barracuda that you accidentally swam upon and kind of freaked yourself out a little bit. That's happened.
but no horror stories.
No horror stories. No. I think the worst thing that's ever happened to me while scuba diving was I flooded my digital camera. And that was like, no, abort. But no, I've done dive trips. Actually, you know what? I take that back. There is a story where I'm in Big Pine Key diving with another fella, and I'm shooting video and camera, right? Because got an underwater housing. It's shallow-ish water, like maybe 20 feet. So I'm taking photos of shallow water coral, seagrass, and schools of tangs kind of swimming through. And I take the footage back after like 45 minutes in the water. I take the footage back and I start developing it in Adobe Lightroom. So you start messing with levels, right? And when you start messing with levels, things start to pop out. And I see the silhouette on this one wide shot that I've done of the seagrass. I'm like, what the fuck is it? And I zoom in and I'm like, that kind of looks like it might be a shark. It's probably just the water. No big deal. Next photo. There he is again. Next photo. Oh, I'm facing the other way, and there he is again. Brother, I tell you, right on the edge of my vision, because the vision with the water where we were at that time was probably, I could probably see maybe 30 feet, maybe. So not good visibility.
Mm-hmm.
He was just on the edge of where I could see or where I couldn't see, and like hung out like, what's this little snack doing?
See, that's exactly. I've always been fascinated by the ocean and water. And early on, when I was a kid, there was like Jacques Cousteau, like documentary type of footage and stuff. And I was always super fascinated by it. And I also liked SeaWorld as a kid. Not so much,
much. The sharks and the
no, not so much. Never the sharks. I was going to say not so much SeaWorld now because you watch Blackfish and see how they caught him and all that type of stuff. It's like, and even let my kids go on like 5th grade field trip and stuff. But then I did end up taking them to SeaWorld last year. Roman loved it, and I was like, oh man, I'm torn between the.
Yeah, because they phrase it like they're saving the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's take this apex predator and put him in a fucking fishbowl.
Put him in a puddle.
Yeah, and then make him do tricks for treats. I mean, yeah, sure, it's fun and there's some education going on, but man, those animals are not happy.
Well, I think what I've rationalized is if it wasn't for some place like that, then the awareness of and the beauty of their existence would be even lessened. And then they could have just like killed them all off. Like they have a lot of different things, and then they just be gone. So there is certainly, some value in keeping them in the awareness of, people's consciousness that like these beautiful things do exist.
Oh, sure. I mean, well, they do that with the manatees, right? Manatees are endangered, I think, species. And they'll bring them into the manatee enclosure, and they'll keep them there as they nurse them back to health, right? So they'll stay there for a short period of time. So that I get. The animal's getting something out of it. It's getting some sort of like medical treatment, some rehabilitation. So yeah, let's put them on display or whatever and educate folks. I'm not going to make a manatee jump out of the water for a herring, or
would it.
Actually, that'd be kind of cool. That's what we should do. We should get in the business of training manatees to like jump through hoops and stuff. We could make $1 million.
If you could train one to do it, yeah, I'm sure we could.
Well, let's get on it.
They've done a great job of protecting. I say great. They still get hit by props and stuff like that, but it's not nearly as beautiful an animal
Definitely not.
Nor as I don't even want to say it's useful, because even if you did capture it and put it on display, it's just gonna
Yeah, kind of
float.
float like a blob. Now, I've heard manatee meat is delicious.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Manatee
Where
meat.
you eating the endangered meats?
No, nowhere. I don't know what you're talking about. Next question. That and sea turtle. Apparently, sea turtle is like buttery, just delicious.
Of course
But
it is.
yeah, now we can't eat it. Thanks, predecessors.
So we've talked a little bit about your art. We've talked about some of your martial arts journey. Did you ever compete?
Yeah, well, yes and no. It was like Naga and New Breed, Copa, those types of competitions. I competed a couple of times at white belt, a couple of times at blue belt. I don't think I've done anything at purple, and I don't know that I will. Only because my knee is fucked, my neck is screwed. I can't feel my fingers right now.
No, wait, not from the gentle art.
No, not the gentle art, not at all. Well, the art was a little less gentle when I was doing it. But yeah, no, man, I blew my knee out by a good guy out at Blackout Grappling. It was a 250 plus dude that wrestled in high school. That was 150 when he wrestled, and he was getting back into it. And he grabbed me by the waist, did an outside leg trip, and tried to throw me against my leg. So my leg stuck. My femur went one way and my shin went the other. And it was like pop. And it was like, just like they say, like a chicken bone popping right out. And I immediately hit the mat. And I was so mad. I was on the verge of tears. I wasn't in pain, but I was afraid to stand up. And I was just on the mats, just ill. And I got back up and I could kind of walk, right? If I hyperextended my knee out, it would be painful. But I knew that I was going to be off the mats for at least a year and a half, maybe 2 years. I kept rolling. I was like, let's go again. And I fucking submitted everybody. At least that's how the story was. I was just,
I slay them all.
I destroyed them. And at one point someone said, bro, are you sure you want to be doing this? You just popped your knee. And I was like, brother, I'm not rolling again. Now shut up and keep rolling, kind of like one of those things. And sure as shit, swole up that night, went to the doctor, and they said torn MCL, or MCL cleanup, ACL torn. And I was on my butt for about 6 months. And then I got back into the gym.
Did you have to have surgery?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It was a full patella reconstruction, or a full ACL construction with the patella tendon. Because when I went to the doctor, I said, I want to be active. I want to do this more. He's like, well, we can get you a cadaver. I was like, well, how does that compare to, let's say, a hamstring or a patella restructure? And he says, well, it's not as good, but we'll give you the middle ground. We'll do the medium tier. You're not a high end athlete, but we'll do the medium. And I got out of the surgery, and he says, you know what? I changed my mind. We gave you the best one. I was like, hey, fuck yeah. So here I am, like 5 or 6 years after it, and feel 100%.
Nice.
Yeah.
And purple belch.
Purple belch, yeah, on the end of the purple belch spectrum right now. Maybe one day I'll get brown. I don't care. I just love rolling.
True that.
I did do one unsanctioned in-house MMA fight.
A little smoker.
It was kind of cool. It was a neat story. So I'm at the gym, and it was an in-house tournament. So it was a lot of jiu-jitsu, a little bit of like sport MMA. So the rules are slightly different, right? So we're not doing like head kicks or ground and pound. We'll do ground and pound, but we're going to be respectful about it. They're teammates, for crying out loud. We're not competing gyms. So I just got done with my tournament for jiu-jitsu, and one of the coaches come over and say, hey, we got a guy who wants to do an MMA match. Do you want to do it? I said, well, tell me more. Who is it? What's the weight? What am I dealing with? Is it someone who's been doing this for a while, or is this a brand new guy? And the coach says, no, he's 185. I'm 135 at this tournament, guys. 185. We offered him another guy who was 205, but he said he was too big, so he's not going to do that fight. Would you be willing to fight him? I said, fuck yeah, I'd fight him. Idiot. I'm an idiot. So the rounds, I think they were only like 2-minute rounds, because again, sport MMA, nothing crazy. I have to keep running into this thing. So sport MMA, 2-minute rounds, 2 threes. Round 1 goes by. I feel like I'm doing great, and the coach is telling me, you lost that round. Lost that round? What you talking about, man? I'm killing this dude. Look at him over there. He's breathing heavy. I'm barely breathing over here, feeling great. Round 2 comes and goes. Now you lost both rounds. You're gonna have to submit him. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I feel like I'm doing great. So 3rd round, about a minute into it, I jumped the ghillie, finished this guy with a guillotine with about a minute, maybe half a minute left, and felt like I was on top of the world until I realized this guy's only trained like 6 weeks, 8 weeks total, and I'm like 2 years into my journey. Yeah. So
Finish him.
Oh yeah. And I was like, and what was funny is I didn't have anyone there filming, but I noticed his wife was filming. Right.
Send me that.
I did. I was like, hey, can you send me that video? And I saw highlights on Instagram, but I never got the video. I was like, dang it. All right. Well,
Dang.
so the way I play it out in my head is very different than the way it actually happened, but makes for a great story, I guess.
And they won't release the footage. All we got is your account.
If we can get the footage, man, I'd be happy. It was pretty cool, man. I mean, you figure 135 against a 185 guy, in-house friendly gym match. Apparently he pieced me up. I didn't realize it. And then, got him with the jujitsu.
Nice. So you talked about fitness as well. So I wanted to talk about your books.
Yeah.
So you made the ABCs of Jiu-Jitsu, and then you came out just recently with the ABCs of CrossFit.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, I actually brought them because I'm super, super proud of these things. So it all started with the ABCs of Jiu-Jitsu, and Dylan Gower out at Cogito set me down, and he was like, Dylan's kind of a cool guy too, right? So he's got his fingers in a whole bunch of stuff. I'd say he's a little ADD.
Give a little twist to the mic.
A little twist to the mic. But like,
no, other way.
This way?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys can hear me now. Look at that. I shouldn't have messed with this arm because I feel like it's falling on me, and I keep scrunching down and down and down to get into the microphone. So I'm just gonna stay right here, a little bit smaller, unless Raina yells at me. But no, Dylan is a super cool guy. He's got his fingers in a whole bunch of stuff. And like I said, he's a little bit of a ADHD, right? So he's like, have this great idea, and then he'll jump on to something else. Well, one day he had the great idea. We should do an ABCs of Jiu-Jitsu book. People would love that. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. About, I don't know, 3 months pass, and I finally start putting some artwork together, which would include like this weird felt style artwork.
Which I think is super cool.
Man, I love it. It's just, the process of creating it is difficult, but it's so much fun. The end result is so cool. But I asked him to, come up with the letters. He came up with the letters. I said, we need some narrative, like, A is for armbar, your very first submission. B is for back take, a great grappling position. I mean, come on, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And I slapped that on there and sent the book out to China to get produced, and we're left with this thing. So I feel like we've had some really good success with it. Certainly with people already knowing Retro Grappler as a grappling company. You put a $5 book out there for people to grab.
Oh, okay. I see. They're seeing your site there. Scroll that a little bit there, Raina.
Yeah. So that led to the ABCs of CrossFit, which was, really, and it's interesting to me, by the way, the jiu-jitsu community and the CrossFit communities are so very similar in that it's like a cult.
Mm-hmm.
But really it is. I mean, it's like, when you're in a jiu-jitsu gym, you're embraced as a member, and you've got a support system that helps you through whatever. People are going to buy your stuff. People are going to support you. People are going to be there for your grandkids, whatever, or your baby shower or whatever it is. And then same thing with CrossFit. It's more about a community than it is about any one thing in particular, I think. I mean, aside from martial arts and fitness, it's a huge community feel. So I felt like it was just as important to have the ABCs of CrossFit. With this book, I just decided to go on this one myself full bore. But that doesn't mean that I didn't have some folks help me, right? Because actually you and Ashley, I put a little credit on the back for them. I'd sent the early book over to them and said, hey, what would you change? And you guys had some killer ideas, because I'm not a CrossFitter. I don't do that. I lift. I've lifted for the past 18 years consistently, but I'm not a CrossFitter. I don't know the terminology. So you guys had some really cool ideas. When we did that, the CrossFit show not too long ago, someone opened the book up, and this is kind of a call out for Ashley, or actually I think it was you.
Mm-hmm.
They opened it up to Q. Do you remember what Q was?
Question of the day.
Question of the day. And they looked at it and go, oh my God, question of the day. And I was like, that did something for you? All right. Make a mental note. I'm going to give that back to Ramsey. So yeah, so little things like that people get a kick out of.
That's
so
cool.
I think we sold like 100 books, out of the thousands that we have in my garage right now. So it's just now starting, but it's been fun. We're trying to figure out what our next book's going to be.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. And first, I'll say more credit than we deserve, just because we sent a couple texts and emails to get a full credit on the book. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
For sure.
We had a blast talking about it, and even like going through it, even as adults, like, oh, what are some good ABCs for different CrossFit terminology and stuff. So
yeah,
we had a blast just interacting with you and chatting with you about it. So
it's just a fun little project, man.
Super fun.
Why is for you your biggest test? Compete with yourself and give it your best. I mean, come on, man.
It's perfect for kids. Every time you post something, I make sure I share it and I tag any CrossFit gym I've ever trained at. And I love whenever they share it from their page, because like you said, big community in CrossFit. I don't particularly like drink the Kool-Aid of CrossFit in that way, but I do drive 30 minutes one way every single day to go to a specific gym where I love the people and like the community. And it's the hybrid, tough as nails. It has jiu-jitsu and CrossFit. So it's like the double whammy of cult.
It is, man. A funny story. Speaking of CrossFit and stuff, and CrossFit tough as nails. I've been training there for a couple of weeks now. I think maybe 2 months, if that. Just trying something else. And we go do this CrossFit show, and all these people were asking me, "Oh, do you do CrossFit? Do you do CrossFit?" And my answer is categorically no. I don't. I lift. I don't do CrossFit. And every time I said no, I don't do CrossFit, they'll go, "Oh." And they'll turn away and walk away.
Oh, I thought I was going to talk to you, but I guess not.
I guess I don't want to buy your stupid butt. So my wife pulls me aside and she was like, "You got to say something else.
Just say yes."
Yeah. I was like, I don't want to fucking lie to people. So she's like, "You don't have to lie. Just tell them you go to CrossFit Tough as Nails." I'm like, we do have a jiu-jitsu program. So that's what I started telling people. And then they're like, "Oh my gosh, I need 3." I was like, "All right, Susan, let's go." Right. So that was kind of fun, man. Just telling everybody about that. I think there were a ton of people there at that show that were from Tallahassee. So you might have known some of those cats, because every time I'd ask where they are, where you coming from. "Oh, Tallahassee." I'm like, "Oh, I should have mentioned Midtown, because I think you were up there for a minute."
Mm-hmm.
But of course, my brain always goes to, "Oh, are you guys familiar with Combat Night? You guys ever been to the moon at Combat Night?"
That's a better name drop.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. And it what's funny is damn near everybody was like, "Oh yeah, we know Mitch." The fuck? Really? You know Mitch? Well, we know of him, but we go to the show.
The lore that is Mitchell.
Yeah, so I can't get away from that.
Great and wide.
He's just everywhere.
So why don't you do CrossFit?
Well, the answer that I'll give you is because I don't want to hurt myself. Some of those motions, some of those movements.
Yeah. So I don't disagree with you. At the same time, that what I would say, as being like a former coach and stuff, is like, well, if they slow walk you into it appropriately,
sure,
and don't let your ego lift or hamper you from ego lifting, then it shouldn't be bad, because obviously the things that get put into peril are your shoulders and your knees and your back. And that typically comes from bad form, bad technique, and lifting more than you should.
Yeah.
So you're such a measured person, and you're fit.
Yeah.
I've seen them guns out before.
So come out to play sometimes.
So I think that you would be a great fit for some CrossFit training. I think Olympic lifting is like my favorite.
So I think Olympic lifting is what scares me the most.
It's the sexiest of the lifting.
It looks so good, dude. Like cleans, jerks. I mean, all that stuff, bro. Like that's the stuff that I want to do in my home gym. But I'm like, no, that bar is going to come straight down to my spine, because I've lifted heavy in the past. Like I was at one point, I'm 5'5". I was at one point 160 pounds from just lifting heavy. And then I had my son, or my wife had my son, and then I got up to 170, and then it was downhill from there. So that's when I decided to cut back down to 135 at my walking weight. Right now I'm at 145. But I feel like, yeah, I could definitely do CrossFit. I don't want to do any crazy motions that'll just fuck my body even more. I'll save that for the mats. At least then I can like extract some revenge on someone and crank my neck.
No revenge to be had against the weights.
Yeah. But no, I think it'd be kind of cool, man. Maybe I should that's what I should do. I should find a day where you're going to be there. Go through a class, see how I like it, and then see if I drink the Kool-Aid.
Well, I've seen a couple of the jiu-jitsu folks coming over there and training CrossFit. I know that Coach Maddie, I've seen taking some classes with her. JP,
yeah,
I've seen coming over, and he's a great athlete too. Obviously the head coach L, he's a monster in CrossFit and jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've seen more. I've also seen a little bit of the girls now trending to go over to doing some jiu-jitsu.
Oh, good.
So it was pretty distinctly different communities outside of maybe the coaches that cross train.
Yeah.
Despite it being in one room essentially, but definitely seen a little bit more crossover with them starting the girls class and stuff there. So
that's good to see.
That's cool to see.
Yeah.
The cults collide.
Yeah. I don't know if I ever want to be a double cult person, but
well, you're already in the combat night cult.
That's true. I am.
And it is. Make no mistake.
No, you're absolutely right. You know, it's funny you say that and we jest, but no, man, we've got love for everybody on the crew. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to say it. Well, I guess we'll say it. It's a cult. We all praise the mighty Octagon.
Mitchell is Koresh. Or Jim Jones figure.
Jim Jones, he's gonna have some Kool-Aid for us.
So let's talk just a little bit about Combat Night and what that process was like for you, getting involved with us, and growing your role with us. And how's that been?
How's it been? Oh my God, stressful as fuck.
You're right.
Yeah, it's like so stressful. But I love it. I operate well in stress. At least I like to think that I do. You may not see it on my face, but inside I'm cool as a cucumber. So my adventure with Combat Night started at that gym that I was referring to earlier, of Dark Wolf, right? Where Christian was fighting some of his pro fights with Combat Night, and I just got into it, and I was drinking that Kool-Aid that I want to be a part of this gym. I want to be a part of whatever it is that they're doing. I want to go in full bore and be there for them. So I was a part of the fight team. I helped some of the fighters with sponsorships and things of that nature. But by and large, my introduction to Combat Night was being a part of that gym, right? We went to the Tallahassee show one time to watch Christian fight. That's when I fell in love with it. And I was like, man, I'm watching everyone around cage side do their thing. Love the show. Thought it was really cool. Flash forward, I don't know, a year. And that's when Lou and I started to really become friends. And he was like, well, me and Mitchell are good friends. You should come out to Combat Night sometime. So I started coming to Combat Night more and more frequently, to the point to where I think Mitchell will tell you what he considers my first day at Combat Night was the Lakeland show. If you remember, in the theater in downtown was it Lakeland?
Leesburg.
Leesburg. Thank you. I think Angel was off doing Angel things.
Whatever Jessica says.
Yeah. She made him do some cool stuff. But yeah, I just decided to help out. Before then, I was doing a little bit of timekeeping, maybe judging if the ask was there, but really just nothing else more than just sitting cage side, hanging out with some friends and enjoying the time. So that's when I started to get really involved with Combat Night, and I started to see the flow of the show, right? How things started to piece together, and understood how the back locker room works, how production operates, because I still don't know how you guys work, because that's a whole nother art in and of itself. And then of course how the commission is put together, and on and on and on and on. I think at one point, Angel had said, I need someone to be a full-time timekeeper / judge / someone on the commission. Are you interested? And, and I got the talk, right? And the talk was not from Angel, but from Mitchell, which was, we have a certain level of expectation. There's a certain level of professionalism that I expect. You're representing my company. Not to bore you with the details, but it was one of those meetings like, hey man, I'm allowing you to work with my company, which is my baby, which is my livelihood. Don't fuck it up. And there's a great deal of respect to someone just being flat out, this is what I expect from you. If you don't do that, then pound sand, hit the bricks. So that was the moment that I realized maybe I'm actually in the cult now. Maybe I'm an active member. And then from that moment on, it was a progressive expansion of my duties. So timekeeping, working the commission side, results, to announcing for like one show, two shows, and now showrunner, which is my current job gig thing.
Yeah. It's been we've been doing this for a long time, and at the same time, it's like we've always had fun doing it, but each of us that become kind of like the pillars of the crew, it's like we take what we do super serious.
Yeah.
And so it's like we are having a good time doing the thing that we like to do, that we take extremely serious.
Yeah.
We all we're all professional, and we all want to be putting on a high level, fantastic show for our viewers. And like I said, we just take that super serious. And despite us, as much as we like joke around, and we have there is a light presence of Combat Night, but there's a serious atmosphere at the same time. And it's something that you can't always appreciate until there's a certain tier that you get into where you're like, oh, this is super serious.
Now I see it.
Right.
Yeah. And it's an aha moment for a lot of people, and it's scary because now you're seeing something like the downstream impact of this problem might have on the show. Not just a fighter or a fight, but the entire freaking show could go down in flames, because now we're not looking at ending the show at a certain time. Maybe it's going to go a little bit longer. Now there's a financial responsibility that someone's going to have to pay to keep us in the building, or they're going to kick us out at midnight.
Somebody named the maddest guy in the room,
exactly.
Mitchell Schmalley.
Exactly. You don't want to let him down, because that's taking money out of his pocket. It's how he feeds his family, so you don't want to do that. So yeah, you're right. There's a ton of like serious moments, but in my opinion, they're few and far between. There's some intense communication at the show, but I think that's because everyone's so amped up, the music's so loud, and clear communication is so important that it sounds like someone's being an asshole, but they're not. They're just telling you, you told me this is what's going to happen. Make it happen. That's as simple as that.
Yeah. I love this work that we do.
It's fun.
And as we continue to grow and do other cool things like this, and just continue to grow our brand and continue to get ourselves out there, it's just been a fantastic adventure.
So, you know what I want to do? At an hour.
Thank you, technical producer.
So on that, what I want to do, what I want to think about is how we can elevate your side of the show, right? Because you know that I run the show for the house, right? And predominantly I'm running it for the people in the venue, right? I want to make sure they're happy, they're excited, the show's moving, and that we end at a certain time. I want to get us to a point to where I'm working closer with you and Ashley and Raina and Rachel and Andrew, and I want to create a show for the feed. Last Combat Night, I wasn't there. I was able to watch it as like,
you were texting me some, and Ashley told me you were texting her some. How was it?
I enjoyed it. So first of all, I got to say, Ben Stark has got like the coolest way about him when he's talking about the fight, because there is no dead space when Ben's there. And I wonder if that's like what it's like at his house. But yeah, he's like constantly finding creative ways to explain what's going on, and I can see Miles is getting to that point too. So he's right on the cusp of just being able to and just throw it out there. I felt like the flow of the show was good. I loved hearing the commentary. What I missed was, and this is just me personally, was when you guys got to sing Raina Happy Birthday. I could barely hear it on the TV because it was like someone's mic was on or something. It wasn't.
I had the overhead mic on, and that was it. That wasn't even something we were really presenting to the home viewers.
But I knew it was going to happen because I heard someone say, "All combat crew to the cage." Bro, I was in an Airbnb. I turned the volume up so loud I could hear it buzzing, and then everyone singing to Raina. So and we were all singing to her too and clapping, and it was just super cool. And I could just imagine like what it was like to be there. But I'm sorry I wasn't there for you, kiddo. But we were there in spirit.
Well, you mentioned some of the other fellas, and that's something to highlight. Is like, well, pretty much we require anybody that's coming in to work the show. It's like you're gonna have to pull some like triple, quadruple duties.
Yeah.
So it's not likely that your job description is just going to feature one thing. Ben is hustling between going back and wrapping hands and also, jumping on commentary. Miles is obviously our ring announcer and also one of the commentators. So both of them can be distracted by any number of things. And I think the quality of the commentary that they bring is, second to none in terms of, we got a couple of pro fighters. Miles is an OG with us, and Ben has been in the game for a long time, Ultimate Fighter contestant and everything. So we got some like really knowledgeable, good guys in there doing multiple jobs while they're bringing the commentary. So shout out to those guys. They do a great job
for sure.
So I was glad that you got to see it from that vantage point, because then you can see like, oh, we can do better here. We can do better here. We should add this here. We should add this there. One thing that we didn't do this show that we did in the previous one in Orlando was like some of the behind the scenes stuff with the fighters warming up and stuff. And, part of that was just kind of, you weren't there, and that adds an element of choreography that, it would have been nice to do it again, especially with the pro show, because, the pros, they have higher profiles, and we want to get them out there and show their faces as much as possible, even in those candid moments. It would have been a cool thing to incorporate it. Certainly plan on doing it in Fort Lauderdale and the upcoming pro shows.
I think we should. I think that elevates the show. It gets Andrew to do something a little bit different. Andrew's our camera guy. He gets to go out and do something a little bit different and more exciting. And by the way, Andrew's camera work in the cage is tits. It is so good, dude.
Shout out Andrew. Man,
okay. So there was one, I want to say it might have been the main event or the co-main, and some joker kept walking in front of the camera, and it was someone from a corner. I forget who it was, but he just effortlessly moved and swayed, and it didn't feel like I was being jostled around. I felt like he was carrying me like a little baby around the cage.
Well, he's finished a technical film school program that he was in, and now he's into an audio program. So good to see that that's paid off for his folks.
Yeah,
and I appreciate it too. I'm gonna give a shout out to Ashley as well, because something that they've been doing with regards to changing different views. So you might get like the picture-in-picture view where you see both corners, and then they cut to Andrew. He's gotten in position in front of the fighter. So they're getting worked on or getting coached. You get a nice close shot of that. And
love it.
It's just, it's our effort to try and present. We're trying to present the same thing you would see on a really big production with, a fraction of the resources available to do it. And I think we've grown so much. I mean, been doing it since we had one camera that we were just recording fights all the way to this, and you've helped a lot with that progression, because you're creative and forward thinking and responsible, and you just add a lot of organizational skills and communication to the mix. So
I want us all to be successful. I want us all to have the best possible product, and the only way to do that is to put your fingers in the pudding and just start fucking making shit happen.
And we want to do it ourselves.
Yeah,
we don't want to just hire some production company. And that's a beautiful thing about Combat Night, is it's someplace that you can not know how to do something, learn how to do it, and then potentially progress all the way up to the highest level. It's not just for the fighters. We've had ring announcers. Shout out Matt Grafer.
Yep.
He started with us and worked his way all the way up to, this guy's on ESPN and stuff now. So whatever job it is, if you take it serious enough and you do it diligently enough, like, it can become, potentially a career path for you.
Yeah. And that goes out to any of the combat crew. We got a lot of new guys on the crew these days, right? That was me. That was my phone. I thought I put it on Do Not Disturb. It must.
That's such a good ringer.
Yeah. So yeah, you look at some of the younger guys on the combat crew, and what do you want to do? I want to fight. Okay, well, what are you going to do until you make it? Well, I don't know. Well, bro, come work the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
Come work merch. Come work, learn something. Shadow me, shadow Ramsey, shadow somebody on the crew, and learn something, and then see if it's something that you can do. If you can't, we'll be the first to tell you that you can't, and it'll be pretty darn evident.
Yeah.
But then we can find something else for you to do.
That's just a great impact that Mitchell even has on these guys. He's such an entrepreneur, and he's so creative with his hustling and different ways that he can figure out how to turn things into something that if guys have any type of ambition about something or any type of drive, he's going to feed that and nurture that. And so we have a bunch of guys, young guys like Tim, who have their own side businesses, and are doing something other than just fighting, because like it or not, fighting don't last forever.
That's right.
So whenever we see those types of guys, we really try to pour into them whatever it is that we know about business, and not just in the fight game, but even outside of that, because pretty much everybody that is involved on the crew is some type of entrepreneur.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's the spirit that we all bring to this. And I'm going to segue in reference to supporting the fighters. Another thing that you do is you're the chairman of the Josh Samman Foundation.
That's right.
So this is something I've been involved with for several years, going back, all the way almost to the beginning of it. They had a couple of years where it was, some of it was like family and original founders that were the board members and stuff, but now that's cycled over. And while I believe I'm the co-chair. And as that happened, then you came in, and unfortunately you weren't somebody that got to actually meet Josh Samman or know him, but you really picked up the baton with the foundation, and we're trying to get some, traction going with that. So talk to us about your involvement with the foundation. Man,
so I tell everybody when I work combat night, the paycheck that I get goes right back to the fighters, and that's still 100% true. Anytime that I try to raise money for a fight camp or for someone's t-shirts or whatever it is, that's all money that comes from combat night. I had the pleasure really of being offered a board position by Chachi. Must have been 4 or 5 years ago. I was like, I'd love to help. I'd love to be a part of a 501c3 that's genuinely helping people, like literally giving people checks, right? And you could see the immediate impact and the relief that it gives folks. So I served on the board for a couple of years. Chachi decided he needed to move on and do some things for his family. And Chachi
is Chuck Kilborn, who was also the original videographer for Combat Night. That's who I took over that job from.
No kid, I did not know that. Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
But go on, sorry.
So yeah, no problem. So that's when I took the helm, and I just decided that maybe give a little bit more. And we started doing some kits for people, like the rash guard and the shorts that we've done, and then picked up the chair position. And now we're trying to drive this machine to the next level. And really, Ramsey, I think what this next level is a greater level of involvement with our fighters. We just brought Ariana Melendez on as a full-time board member, which is fantastic. Now we've got a solid pro fighter who can represent the Josh Samman MMA Foundation. I think we're bringing on another board member on our next meeting. I think is official. Question mark?
Oh, on her side, it's 100%. So
all right, cool.
Just the discussion to be had.
Right. So we're going to be bringing on some additional talent that's methodical, process oriented, and thoughtful in the way that they implement their plan. And the goal here is to get us back into the spotlight, right? You look back 6-7 years ago, Samman was everywhere, right? I want to get back to being in every single gym in Central Florida, Florida, and everyone knows who we are, whether it's a poster, a t-shirt. Hey, we're so-and-so's being sponsored by Josh Samman. Who's that? I don't know. Go to SammanMMAFoundation.com or .org and find out. So our goal this year is to be more visible and to give people more money, right? Mm-hmm. We said it at Combat Night not too long ago. Guys, we've got a big piggy bank right now, and I want to go broke. Oh, we said it at the PKB, mm-hmm. Where Rich Grindle allowed us to come in and speak. We've got so much money that we want to give fighters in Central Florida. All you have to do is go to SammanMMAFoundation.com, fill out a little questionnaire, upload a 2-minute video, and you'll be considered. All you have to do is be a fighter, a grappler, a wrestler, a boxer, do some sort of combat sport in Florida. Give us some references. We'll call them up and make sure you're a good fit for the foundation. And then we'll give you money. If you're an amateur, we give you, I think, $300. If you're a pro, we give you $5. We also do a Phoenix Fighter Award for exemplary execution of our values. So Kat Nelson was a Phoenix fighter. Kat was, right?
Mm-hmm. Preston
Parsons. Ariana Melendez was as well. So we love giving people money. It's just a matter of getting out and receiving it. And we want to be in front of more people. So here's a homework assignment for you guys and gals at home. If you are in a gym in Central Florida, in Florida at all, do us a favor and talk to your coach and see if you guys want to hold a seminar. 9 times out of 10, we could probably get a pro fighter or two into your gym, hold a seminar, raise some money for the foundation, bring some eyes into your organization, in your gym, and even just, add some knowledge to the toolbox for your fighters. I think that's where we want to go, Ramsey. I think when we start doing something at Roberto's gym in Gracie Baja, Jacksonville, if we do something at Jim Aller's gym down at Aller's Martial Arts in Pinellas Park, we can bring talent to your mats, and then you can help us by raising some money for the foundation, which you could probably get for a couple of fighters in your gym anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So then there you go.
Yeah, certainly. It's well within our scope to be able to bring our Combat Night champions, our up and coming pros, and some of the guys that are, within our network that have made it on the next level. And like you said, bring some of that experience and expertise to your gym and share that knowledge and information. It's something we talk about almost every single Combat Night. You and I, we get up and we share information about the foundation, and it's been eye-opening because Josh Samman has been just such a big part of my life for the last 12 years, from meeting him and knowing him personally to being a part of Combat Night, which he helped found, and with Mitchell, to this point now where it's like people don't even, they don't know who he is and don't remember. He was such a huge impact and such a driving force in Combat Night and in combat sports, and in the UFC. He was making his mark, and he was just he was a one of a kind, and he was a super inspirational person, and he lit fires in so many people.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just want to like pass that torch on, because the fire was lit in me from being around him and seeing the way he operated and was motivated. So I want to get like the awareness of his impact that it's had on all of us in the combat crew, and share that with these new folks, these up and comers, because man, he was a meteor.
Yeah,
he was a shooting star, and he was a great person to be around, and just so motivating for so many fighters early in the 2010s, with his own journey and process of making it to the big show. And that's what we want to do for all the guys that come and compete with us. Like, if you got the goods and you got the drive and you got the tenacity and the hard work ethic, then we want to provide a platform that is of quality and value that you can leap off from into the big leagues.
Yeah.
And the Samman Foundation is another, element of providing support and sending guys in that direction.
I love it, man. Every time I hear a story about Josh, I've got this image of Josh in my head. Like you said, I've never met him, but I would have loved to have hung out with him. Right. I've got this image of him just being this bigger, larger than life type dude. And my image of him is so elevated that I have no choice but to try to reach that bar. I've set that bar so high that I want to be like that dude. I want to be that inspiration like he has been for so many people. How am I going to do it? Fuck, man. The only way I can hustle with the Samman Foundation, right? Try to raise money that way. Try to make people aware that we can help you reach your dream, right? We can help you find a way to make ends meet, financially. I mean, I'm not going to get in the ring with you or nothing.
Mitchell will.
Mitchell will. But no, I mean, it's the point of me even saying that was, it's this goal that I can't attain, which is striving for greatness. And I really, Josh is that bar for me. So I'm trying to reach that bar, trying to get there.
Lofty aspirations.
Listen, if you do it right, you're never done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, before my dad died, he told me that, if you're working, and you're never done. When you're a farmer, you're always cultivating something. You're always building something. You're always doing something. There is never a day where you go, wow, I'm done. No, it's always, I'm growing the next thing, or I'm fixing the next thing, or I'm working on the next thing. That lofty goal of reaching perfection or being like the top of the top, it'll never happen if you do it right. And that's what I want to do. I can't stay still because I just want to create. I want to help people. I want to do cool shit. I want to do something for me. I want to do something for my family. And I just want to live. LIVE.
But that was I had one more kind of serious question
Yeah.
for you, and that you kind of started to answer it there, where is if someone only knew one part of your identity, fighter, artist, author, nonprofit leader, which one would you want them to know first? And also 10 years from now, what do you hope people will say you built or stood for?
I think first it's going to have to be artist. I mean, when they think of Retro or they think of Lucky, it's, man, he was pretty cool with the paintbrush and the pen, right? I want people to remember my artwork because that legacy can transcend generations. It's my fountain of youth, right? Couple that with martial arts and that'll keep you young too. But I want people to remember Retro as the artist, not necessarily as a businessman, not necessarily as a grappler, because I suck at grappling, but definitely as an artist. And yeah, I think 20 years down the road, when people look at a poster of a crashing wave that I've done, or a shark biting Ramsey's ankle, they'll be like, yeah, no, I recognize that artwork. I know that guy. I trained with that guy back in Central Florida, 30 plus years ago. What's he doing now? Well, he looks the same, just as gray. But no, I mean, I think that's, hopefully I answered your question, but I mean, that's what I want. I want people to remember me as an artist, as a creator, and as just a guy that just genuinely wanted to help people. My past is so fucked up, dude. Like, I feel like I'm just, I'm trying to make up for my past sins. People are like, man, Retro, you're always just so nice. Why are you so nice? It's because I want to be. I have to be. I just, how else am I going to have this legacy that doesn't end when I enter that final sleep? You have to be someone that you're not. Almost, you have to be bigger than who you are. And that's what I'm trying to build for myself and for my family. I want everyone to remember Retro, Uncle Lucky, Christopher as this larger than life, really good fucking guy that can kill you.
Everything but large. You're not large.
Yeah, no, very small, very small.
No, that's great. That's all we can strive to do is set up something that is meaningful and involve yourselves in meaningful things that resonate with others and impact others. And that's something that's super important to me, is I just want to be a part of something that impacts the lives of others and leaves positive marks on them.
Yeah.
So on the a slightly lighter note, a couple of questions we always kind of wrap up with and confirm.
Oh, let's hear it.
So I think we'll see if we can get to 3 of them. So one of them is any conspiracy theories that you ascribe to?
Conspiracy theories. Let's see. I am not 100% certain that we landed on the moon.
All right, now we're talking.
I think that that we were in a battle to get some sort of one-uppance in the Cold War. We needed some sort of win, and that win was most likely done in a Hollywood basement, to quote the song. I do think that we did eventually get to the moon, but when it was filmed in 1953, 55, when the moon landing was,
well, like 62.
Was it in okay?
Yeah.
All right. So when it was in 62, I feel like that was done fictitiously. Now, that's not to have Buzz Aldrin punch me in the face. I'm not saying that Buzz did.
Swear on the Bible.
Yeah. I just, listen, man, I feel like that was an incredible feat. And I don't know that it was possible then. So yeah, I think if there was any conspiracy theory, that'd be the one.
Knowing that we have the 10,000, the amount of computing power in our cell phone than they had then, it's like,
what does that tell you? It tells you those motherfuckers were crazy if they were getting into a rocket being shot up into outer space.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so 100 men versus 1 gorilla.
Do I have to beat them off? Who would win?
Who would win?
Oh, the gorilla.
Okay, Team Gorilla. Yeah.
Team Gorilla, absolutely. You gonna ask me why? Because after you run through the first 10 motherfuckers, that the fear is gonna hit those guys, and that gorilla is gonna be unstoppable. He doesn't feel fear. He's just gonna start ripping limbs, eating people. I think you've seen the documentaries where people have like a chimpanzee as a pet. And those things are freakishly strong, and then you start eating,
bite your fingers and rip your eyes out.
Yeah, imagine that in silverback form. 100 guys, no, you might, yeah. I think you get to like the 85th person that's died to this gorilla, and the remainder are like, guys, I gotta go home. My wife is waiting on me.
my cat's sick.
Yeah, I gotta go. Is this on YouTube? I gotta go.
So some of the semantics that get played into it that are like, so you're telling me Brock Lesnar and Francis Ngannou? It's like, hold on, no.
Wait.
What we're talking about is a random sampling of 100 men from society.
You can't take the sample. Now, you know I'm a data guy, right? That's my full-time job. Analysis, data analysis, population samples. You can't take the anything that's above or below the median or the mean and expect that to work, as a sample, right? You can't take the anomalous data and make that your foundation.
Right.
How many Brock Lesnar's is it going to take down a gorilla? I don't know.
Not 100.
Not 100, but average Joes, guys like me, guys like you, and a gorilla.
It's not a good thing.
Because you get into the mental, like the mental psyche, right? Like, first of all, why are we attacking a gorilla if we had to? And
couldn't we just let him go?
Yeah, just like give him a high five and a banana and say, "See ya, buddy." Like, why am I fighting a gorilla? Why? No, because you're gonna at some point the human nature will kick in, and the human nature is, do I really need to be here? Like, I just saw Bill get like his head shoved up his own ass from this gorilla. Do I want that? No. I think I'm gonna go home and have some fucking lasagna.
So another variation of the question. Typically, this is for fighters, but you train, so we'll throw it out there. Is you versus 108-year-olds?
Oh no. Okay, so
with the point of reference being Caden is 8.
Oh no, 8-year-olds will win all day long against me. Absolutely, against any man. If you've never done a kids class. If you've ever done a kids jiu-jitsu or MMA class and lost control of the class for whatever reason, whether it's a birthday party or someone's having cupcakes or Billy has a bloody nose and you had to deal with that, and then all the other kids go crazy, those little fuckers will ruin you.
Heathens.
Man, it gets bad. And then you try to tell them what to do, and then they throw in "you're not my dad," and then all the other ones are like, "Yeah, you're not his dad. Don't tell me what you can't tell me what to do." Man, they will tear you to shreds. I think if you probably went in and did like the windmill, the swirly.
That's what Danny said.
Okay, you could probably take out some of the kids. You might be able to take out a couple of little Billies and Johnnies, but I'm telling you, man, you get 4 or 5 of those little fuckers on you. You better watch your eyes and your throat because they're ripping. And that's just in jiu-jitsu.
Well, see, then that's messing up the data, though. You got to just take random 8-year-olds, not jiu-jitsu practicing 8-year-olds.
No, I'm saying in jiu-jitsu, an 8-year-old is going to rip out your eyes. No, maybe not. But no, you're right. Yeah, it has to be an even sample. And there's a lot of bad kids out there, man. Are they iPad kids?
Probably.
All right. There's probably going to be some iPad kids. So their fingers are going to be sticky. Got to take that into account.
Their attention span's going to be short.
Yeah. No, I think 100. If you think about literally 108-year-olds, I think I'd be a dead man. I think they'd gas me out.
All right. Any last words or thoughts?
You gonna kill me?
Final words.
Any final words, Retro? No, man. I think I didn't even really think about that question. I probably should have. But I think what I want to say is thank you to everyone who tunes in, who watches the reels that we do, who watches Combat Night, that partake in anything that I might have a hand in, because it means so much to me that that you're taking the time to engage, to like, to comment, to whatever it is, or even just appreciate the artwork that I do. It just means a lot to me, and I think if it weren't for the martial arts industry that I'm a part of right now, I'd be lost. I think I really do. I really think that I would be out doing some dumb shit somewhere by the railroad tracks, lighting firecrackers and flattening pennies. If you guys know what that means, I think it set me on the right path, and it's not just one person or one group of people. It's everyone who's been on this journey, the friends that I've made, the people that I've met, the people I haven't met. It's just it's changed at the core who I am and who I represent, like me as a person. So I think that's probably the thing that I'll leave you guys with is, if you if and when you embrace the martial arts journey, just be cognizant of how it's changed you, how it's touched your life, and give back. And I'm not saying give money to anybody. I'm just saying maybe take some time to help coach a kid's class, or little Susie down the street's been bullied. Maybe you take off and you go talk to her mom and say, hey, let's get her into jujitsu, and it'll be good for her. And I'll pay for the first month. It's no big deal, whatever. Realize that there have been people who've made sacrifices for you, better or worse, that you didn't even see. So do that thing. Don't do anything. Don't go out there and try to get an award for being a good person. Act with kindness. And I think the last thing, always love first. I said that so long ago, dude, and I didn't mean to say it that way. I think I put it in an email. Always love first, but I think always love first is how we should be living. Always lead with your heart. If you're following a dollar bill, you're doing it for the wrong reason. You're following clout, you're doing it for the wrong reason. Do it for love. Lead with your heart. Always love first. That's how we'll leave it.
Tell them where to find your stuff.
Retrograppler.com or wavehugger.com. You can also you can reach us by abcsofjujitsu.com or abcsofcrossfit.com. It all goes back to Retro Grappler, but mostly retrograppler.com, or on Instagram at retrograpplershop. On Instagram as at the Wave Hugger or at ABCs of CrossFit. That's a lot of work, by the way. That's a lot.
Yeah, you're on all the platforms. Good content too. You make good reels. Appreciate it. Leave us with a last thing. Take us out with the Macho Man.
Oh shit! I forgot my glasses. Ooh yeah, Ramsey White, Raina White back behind the keyboard. If you want to see something amazing, something that'll melt your freaking eyeballs, go to combatnight.com. Yeah. Ramsey White, it's been an absolute pleasure. You're cream of the crop, which rises to the top. Dig it.
All right, guys. Till next time. Thank you.
Are you ready for combat night?